Hi, I am Laura Jane, the Rawtarian from therawtarian.com, where I make simple, satisfying raw food recipes. And today we are going to be making my raw haystacks, aka raw chocolate macaroons. And this is a super simple recipe. You will notice, where is my trusty Vitamix blender? Where is my trusty food processor? They are nowhere to be found. All we need is a bowl for this recipe and some very key ingredients, because what we're going to be doing is combining all of these ingredients into this bowl and mixing with a very tiny spoon, actually, now that I think about it. And then we're going to be forming them into little drop cookies or macaroons, dollops onto this cookie sheet. And then we're just gonna freeze it. And then within literally only half an hour, because they're in the freezer, they're gonna solidify, and then they're gonna be the most delicious, chocolatey, coconutty goodness. So that is what we're gonna be doing today. And in terms of ingredients, we have 2.5 cups of dried, unsweetened, shredded coconut. We have between between half a cup and 3/4 of a cup of coconut oil. Now this is cold pressed coconut oil, but depending on the temperature in your house, it will either be solid like this if it's cooler in your house, or it will be liquid like this if it's warmer in your house. Same product, it just depends on the temperature. So for this recipe, usually I'm not picky, but you do want to make sure your coconut oil is liquid. So because it's not gonna, all we're doing is stirring, so you need it to be warmed up a little bit. So you could use a double boiler, and I won't go into the details of that, but basically you could even just stick some, I guess I am going into the details. So basically what you could do is put your globby kind of coconut oil in this, and then put it in a bigger glass with hot water in it, and it'll melt really quickly. But of course you're keeping them separate. Anyway, in this recipe, it's one of the very few recipes that really does matter, otherwise it's not gonna mix properly. So we said we had our coconut oil. We have 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, which is gonna bring out the flavors. We have 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. We have 1/2 cup of cacao powder and 1/2 cup of sweetener. And today I'm using maple syrup, but you could use honey or agave nectar, whatever you have or whatever you're more comfortable with. I alluded to it at the beginning. All we're gonna be doing is mixing everything into this bowl, which I hope you can see. Oh, no. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna continue because I think I'm remembering that it's easier. I need a bigger bowl. We can persevere. What we need to do is get this back in here, because it's easier if you combine all the liquids together first. We're gonna lose a bit of coconut, but we're okay with that. I'll show you. Because what I tend to, oh my God. Just go with it. Just go with it. Because it's way easier. I don't regret doing it this way. If you go like this, put everything except the coconut into this bowl. And I'm just gonna scrape the rest of it out, because if we have the coconut in there, it gets kind of hard to mix everything, because we want this to be a wet mixture. And maybe I'll just mix this a little bit. And you can always tell, I love your comments, because you guys can always tell when I'm like a little flustered and a little not happy with myself. But we can't be perfect, and we can't always restart everything. So this isn't gonna be completely mixed, and that's fine. We just wanna give it a bit of a head start so that we can get the coconut going. This is quite the chocolatey mixture. And I also have similar cookies that I call the vanilla drop cookies that are a bit of a play on this recipe that don't include cacao powder, so they're not chocolatey. And actually those ones include tahini, which is sesame seed butter, which is kind of gross on its own. It's kind of like butter, and that you don't want to just eat butter, but when you combine it, it's very tasty. So I think that's probably reasonably, well, I should actually keep going a little more. You want to get it so that it kind of looks somewhat just like a chocolatey mixture. And this is a pretty big recipe too. You could easily have it. And I'm just gonna add some of this. And this, I would imagine, I don't have children, but I imagine this would be very fun and easy to do with kids because it doesn't take long. And even the waiting aspect of it, it's not long, literally half an hour in the freezer. It's because of the coconut oil that they solidify so fast in the freezer. So this is still really liquidy because we haven't added all of the coconut. Okay. So these are great too because you can leave them in the freezer for a long time and they're really sweet, so you don't need a lot of them. Like after dinner or something, just one would totally satisfy your sweet chocolatey craving. And I definitely, as you know, love to keep something sweet in the freezer all the time. Just, you know, it's in the low moments where you kind of want to reach for something sweet and you don't feel like making a whole production. So I do try to keep something in the freezer. But yes, so here we have, I think this low bowl is probably very easy for you to see, this mixture. And I am gonna just get in there with my hands. So basically, the mixture is done and now we want to form little cookies. I said I was gonna get in there with my hands, but you could go like this. And as long as they're generally touching each other, they'll freeze together. Or probably my instinct was to get dirty because I love to have an excuse to put my hands in with food. They're kind of sticky though, and they're kind of odd feeling. It's not the most satisfying, but you could make little macaroons. You could also, I don't have them out actually right now, but oh my gosh, this is a messy one. But I have silicone little molds, silicone, that you could use. But basically, oh my gosh, that is it. And what I would do now is they're really done, except they need to harden so that you could eat them. So you just pop that in the freezer for half an hour or way longer. You can't over freeze. So, and then you just leave them in the freezer. So you don't want to refrigerate them. And also if you were to take them and put them in your child's lunch at school all day in the hot summer, they will just melt and go back to this texture. So really you want to freeze them and eat them frozen. I really need to go wash my hands. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm the Rawtarian from the Rawtarian.com. And I hope to see you next time.